me take you somewhere, and there's something new. Why English is welcome so good. It's Diction Avenue, Diction Avenue. This is a word where English language is taught, the official language that everyone needs to learn. Set the right pronunciation and use the right intonation. So express yourself. It's Diction Avenue, Diction Avenue.
Okay, welcome to the world with vision. They say a nation get perished without the vision. In Diction Avenue, we got the mission, vision to build tomorrow's future. Speak with good English is our culture. We got qualified teachers, good facilities to build confidence in our students. Don't be told, come witness the treasure you can't measure. Welcome to the world.
And there's something new. Why English is welcome so good. It's Diction Avenue, Diction Avenue.
Welcome to today's edition of Diction Avenue. This is a show on television where you learn how to speak right, and sound English. My name is Abigail Anaba, and on the show today, we are going to be discussing something I feel that you'll be absolutely interested in. We'll be talking idiomatic expressions. Yes, you know those expressions that use the same words but mean something completely different because of how the words are brought together in a sentence. Yes, we're going to be discussing idiomatic expressions today on Diction Avenue. And of course, we have stories that teach somewhere. We are going to be taking that later on in the program. Plus, we have a question from one of our viewers, which we will be answering on Ask Anything English. But as usual, we're going to start off with our question of the day. And if you're ready, well, I am ready because I have the question of the day coming up in just a bit. And the question has to do with our topic of today. Which of the following is the correct idiom? How is that idiom said? Is it A, out of the blues, B, out of the blue, or C, out in the blue? What do you think? Is it A, B, or C? Which is the correct idiom? Of course, we're going to talk about what that idiom means later on in the show, but how is it said to start with? Well, if you feel you have the correct answer to that question, now is the time to send in your answer. And the number to text, remember, it's text message only. The number to text is 0805-584-9525. Again, the number to text is 0805-584-9525. You may also decide to send a WhatsApp message to that number. Well, you're free to do that. Send a text message or a WhatsApp message to the number 0805-584-9525 if you feel you have an answer to that question. And we will be moving straight on to the topic of the day. And as I said at the beginning of the show, today we're going to be discussing idiomatic expressions. And you may be wondering, what's a good way to define idiomatic expressions? What do they mean? What is an idiomatic expression and how do we use idiomatic expressions? Well, we're going to look at the definition of idiomatic expressions, after which we will be looking at a couple of idiomatic expressions and how they're used in the English language. So, idiomatic expressions are a special type of informal language, that have a meaning different from the meaning of the words in the expression. So that is what makes idiomatic expressions different from your normal everyday words. The words are the same, but when they're brought together in a phrase or in a saying, they mean something different. So you're not looking at the literal meaning of the words of an idiomatic expression, or in an idiomatic expression, they mean something different. They can be phrases or sentences, but they usually have a meaning which is different from the literal meanings of the words in the phrases or sentences. And so we're going to take a look at some idiomatic expressions and what they mean. Perhaps you've used some of these idiomatic expressions when you speak before now, maybe not. Maybe you're not even used to using idiomatic expressions, but after our lesson today, you're going to have a couple that you can play around with and you can use when speaking to friends or family. So let's start with the very first one. Spill the beans. What does it mean to spill the beans? It means to tell a secret. So when someone uses the expression spill the beans, it means they're talking about telling a secret. You can't trust Anne, and that's a sentence. You can't trust Anne not to spill the beans. What does that mean? It means that you can't trust Anne to keep a secret. She's going to spill the beans. So this does not literally mean that someone is spilling beans, but if you check the origin of that saying, it has something to do with, in Greece, they usually put beans in cups when they want to, when the judges are seated. They put the beans in different cups in order to determine on whose side of a case they are. And so if someone spills the beans, it means that the person makes it obvious what each of the judges have decided. And so that's where the expression spill the beans came from. So it means to tell a secret. So I guess you can use that. I hope you can use that in a sentence now when you're speaking and you're talking about someone not keeping a secret. They're spilling the beans. Okay. We move on to the very next expression, and this has to do with a number, and the expression is be on cloud nine. What does it mean to be on cloud nine? It means that a person is extremely happy. He's on cloud nine. And so we have the sentence, I was on cloud nine when I was told I passed the test. So for those who did brilliantly well in the last WIEC exams, they're probably on cloud nine because they're extremely happy. And so that's what it means to be on cloud nine, to be extremely happy. Be on cloud nine, be extremely happy. Are you on cloud nine? You decide and then you let me know. Right, we move on to the next expression. We've taken two expressions now, spill the beans and be on cloud nine. Now we're moving to the third expression. And the third expression also has to do with a number. It says, once bitten, twice shy. Once bitten, twice shy. What does that mean? You use that if someone has been hurt by something, they won't want to do it again. And so we have the sentence, I doubt he would gamble again. After that loss, you know, once beaten, twice shy. So if a person has done something and he has lost in it, he probably wouldn't try it again because once beaten, twice shy. So I guess you can use that expression now. Once beaten, twice shy, you use if someone has been hurt by something such that they wouldn't want to do it again. We move on to expression number 4. And expression number 4 has to do with numbers. It says there is safety in numbers. When do you use this expression? You use it if a person is part of a group, then they will be protected. So, the sentence there goes, I think the whole class should go speak with the principal. There is safety in numbers. That means that if there's a group of you doing something, people won't be picked out. It will seem like everyone is in agreement and they're all doing this together and nobody will be made a scapegoat. So there is safety in numbers. You may agree, you may not agree, but that's what the saying says. There is safety in numbers. We move on to number 5. And number 5, the expression is one off. Remember, we're discussing idiomatic expressions, and we say that idiomatic expressions are expressions that mean something different from what the words mean when they're in isolation. One of. What does that mean? You use one of when you're talking about something that happens just that one time. So it's not repetitious. It doesn't happen all the time. It's just one of. So the tennis match will be a one-off event. One-off. That's what the expression means. It happens just that one time. So you can think of different events, maybe in your life that was one-off. Yeah? Perhaps if a person wins the lottery, it's going to be a one-off event. Or, like they say, lightning doesn't strike twice. So if lightning strikes somewhere, it's probably a one-off event. So something that happens just once, it's one-off. Right. Moving on to expression number 6. And expression number 6 is, that makes the two of us. That makes the two of us. When do you use this expression? You use this expression when you share the same experience with someone else. And we have a sentence there, I am so hungry. That makes the two of us. That means that you're hungry too. So if someone says something and it's an experience you share, you can quickly say, that makes the two of us. Right? So if someone says, I just passed my WIAC exams, that makes the two of us. So I passed my exams too. Expression number 7 has to do with going to sleep. Take 40 winks. What does it mean to take 40 winks? It means to take a nap. That's a very fancy way of saying you want to take a nap. I'll just take 40 winks before the meeting. 40 winks, take a nap. Interesting, isn't it? So that's a nice one to use. I'll just take 40 winks, which means I want to take a nap. That's what the expression means. And we move on to expression number 8. And expression number 8 is one of a kind. What does it mean when you say someone or something is one of a kind? You mean that they are unique or special. So you could use the expression, my mom is one of a kind, which means that your mom is unique or special. Or you have a friend who is one of a kind, which means they're unique or they're special. So that's an expression you can use to make someone feel good. For instance, I could say, my friend is one of a kind. That means that my friend is unique or special. You weren't expecting me to say someone's name, were you? Well, one of a kind, that's an expression that means that the person is unique or special. And then we move on to expression number 9. At 6s and 7s. That's the expression. At 6s and 7s. And what does that mean? It means that a person is confused. At 6s and 7s means that the person is confused. We were at 6s and 7s when there was power failure. We were at 6s and 7s when there was power failure. Perhaps you were doing something and suddenly there's a power cut and you're confused. Oh, what am I going to do? There's a power cut. My generator isn't working. I'm at 6s and 7s. That means that you are completely confused. Sometimes when you hear something that just happens suddenly, you are at 6s and 7s because you're confused and you don't know what to do. So that's the expression at 6s and 7s. And our final expression for today, expression number 10. It says, dressed up to the nines. What does it mean to be dressed up to the nines? It means you're wearing fashionable clothing for a special occasion. I saw her headed to the party. dressed up to the nines. Well, when you see people, especially on Saturdays in Lagos, they're dressed up to the nines because they are probably going to be attending a wedding or some other very special occasion. So they dress up to the nines. So that's an expression you could use if you see a neighbor or a friend heading up to a party. You say, oh, you look so good. You're dressed up to the nines. And that makes you sound really posh. Right. So those are 10 different expressions, 10 different idiomatic expressions and their meanings. I've also tried to explain where a couple of them come from. I hope that you will be willing to use these expressions when you're speaking because it adds beauty and color to your speech so that you do not sound just like the other person on the street. You have something special or unique that you say when you speak. Do not forget, if you want to improve your English speaking, reading or writing skills, you can always reach out to us, www.ecom.ng. You can send an email to admin@ecom.ng, or you can you can send a WhatsApp message, not call, send a WhatsApp message to 0805 584 9525 or 0806 128 2222. And with that, we will be going back to our question of the day just before we take our stories that teach. At the beginning of the show, I gave out our question of the day, and the question had to do with an idiomatic expression. That's the question right there on your screen now. Which of the following is the correct idiom? Do you say out of the blues, out of the blue, or out in the blue? What do you think? Well, send your correct answer to the number 0805 584 9525, or you can send a WhatsApp message to the same number. Well, we're going to be taking a break now. We'll be taking stories that teach, where we'll be meeting a very selfish dog, and we'll see what we can learn from him. Selfish Pascal is the topic of our story for today. I hope you'll enjoy it, and when we come back, we'll be taking Ask Anything English. Don't go away. Selfish Pascal. Pascal was a little puppy who didn't like to share. He wanted to have things all to himself. Whenever he went out to play, he would fight over everything, even things that weren't his. It was Saturday, and all the puppies were visiting Grandpa Johnson. That morning after breakfast, they decided to play fetch. After finding a pretty stick, Grandpa threw it far off, and all the puppies ran after it. Pascal got to the stick first, grabbed it, and started off in the direction opposite Grandpa Johnson. All the other puppies were surprised. "What are you doing?" Stanley asked. "You're supposed to take it back to Grandpa Johnson so he can throw it again." Pascal pretended not to hear him, moved farther along, and sat down to play with the stick. "Go find your own stick," he barked. "This one's mine." All the other puppies were disappointed. They didn't know how to get Pascal to share. What would you have said to Pascal if you were there? The end. Sometimes we do meet selfish people, don't we? And we're often confused what to do with them. And at the end of that story, the question was asked, what would you do if you were confronted with someone selfish? Well, that's where you get to do some thinking and come up with exactly how to deal with selfish people. because we do meet people like that every day. Well, that was our story of the day, titled Selfish Pascal. And I hope you did learn from that story that it is not right for you to be selfish. Always be willing to share. Well, we're going to be moving right on to our question of the day. We do have received a number of answers to our question of the day already. Many answers. But do not forget to include your name and where you're texting us from when you're sending in your answer, because that's the only way we can talk to you directly. Remember, our question of the day was on idiomatic expressions, which was also our topic for the day. Right now, we're going to be taking our one question on Ask Anything English, and the question comes in from Joshua. And Joshua asks, pronounce for and for. Well, Joshua, the answer to your question, I've already given it. The two words can be homophones. They can be pronounced exactly the same way, which is for. For. You can say for F-O-R. You can also say for F-O-U-R. They're homophones. But sometimes for is pronounced in a different way. F-O-R has a faint form, so you go f, f. When it comes before a consonant, you say f. When it comes before a vowel, you go fur. So you could have a sentence like, for best results, do this and that. F for best, because the next word is a consonant. But then, if the next one is a vowel, you go for apples. I paid for apples. So, the word F-O-R can have a strong form, for, or a weak one, form, f, but F-O-U-R is always strong, for. That's how it's pronounced. So I hope you get that right. Don't forget that if you have any questions on the English language, feel free to text 0805-584-9525 or send a WhatsApp message. I will try to treat your answer on Diction Avenue. And that's just about all the time we have on the show today. But we'll just take some of your answers. Remember, we gave out the question at the beginning of the show. And the question was, which of these four, which of the three options is the correct expression? We have Adeoye Emmanuel from Ilorin saying out of the blues. Well, Adeoye, no, that's not correct. The expression is not out of the blues. In fact, I have a couple of people here saying out of the blues. This is Happy from Ikeja. Happy actually gave us a correct answer to the question, out of the blue. That is actually the correct expression. It doesn't have an S at the end. It is just out of the blue and not out of the blues. So Happy from Ikeja, your answer was absolutely correct. And as I said just a moment ago, that's just about all the time we have on the Avenue to get today. Don't forget, next week is another date to keep with us. We'll continue to learn more about the English language. And until I come your way again next week, my name is Abigail Anaba. Keep speaking right, keep sounding right.
They say a nation get perished without the vision. In Diction Avenue, we got the mission, vision to build tomorrow's future. Speak with good English is our culture. We got qualified teachers, good facilities to build confidence in our students. Don't be told, come witness a treasure you can't measure. Welcome to the world.
And there's something new.